Hey guys, I feel like there's been a level of intellectual dishonesty lately regarding the greatest of all time debate within StarCraft 2. Most people's like Cyril is the GOAT arguments are either blatant dismissals of other players or like 30 plus minute discussions about how great Cyril is. I feel like these long winding discussions and dismissals kind of hide the actual facts, especially since Cyril is probably the best overall storyline that we've ever had in StarCraft. And he's obviously very much more liked than someone like Rogue. So what I'm going to do here is lay out why I think that Rogue is the actual GOAT, the greatest of all time, and it's going to be less than 5 minutes. It's going to be concise. And if you think that Cyril, you watch this, if you think that Cyril is the GOAT, you should be able to do the same. You should be able to do it very quickly, very concisely, and show, okay, here it is. And after I've laid out those arguments, which again are going to take less than 5 minutes, I'm going to say what I think Cyril actually is, and why people are confusing that with being GOAT, and why Maru has kind of been dragged into this as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin with what I think are the reasons that Rogue is the GOAT. Okay, so first off, what is a GOAT? The greatest of all time, the most accomplished and successful individual in the history of a particular sport or category or performance or activity. Okay. Here are their premier tournament wins, okay? Nobody cares if you won an online cup. Here are the big tournaments that people dream about winning when they pick up that mouse and keyboard and want to be a pro gamer. World Championships, they are tied. As you can see, both winning one at BlizzCon, both winning one at Katowice. Premier weekend tournaments. We have 2 GSL versus the Worlds for Cyril, and we have 2 GSL Super Tournaments for Rogue. Approximately the same. We have a DreamHack-esque event with the StarCraft 2 Masters for Cyril, and we have that same type of event. IEM was basically the same thing with IEM Shanghai 2017. And then they both have an additional IEM Katowice win. And then you go down to a whole different format of tournaments, preparation tournaments, which definitely gives you a different variety of games. It's been a very important part of StarCraft since the very beginning. And of course, Rogue won 4 GSL Code S tournaments in 4 different years, where Cyril has no victories such as that. If you were to go down the list in tournaments, I would say that the next valuable, like super valuable results from Cyril would be something like Home Story Cups, which are clearly a level below these other ones as much as we love those cups. And he has 3 of those, which obviously aren't going to measure up to 4 GSL Code S. So I think looking at this, I find it really hard to believe that there's like, I'm open to it. Make a quick, concise video. Let me know exactly how this GOAT definition applies to Cyril being the GOAT over Rogue, because I don't see it. No matter how much you like him, no matter how much you like his story, when you lay out their actual tournament wins side by side, Rogue has done the most in StarCraft 2. It's as simple as that. Okay, so that is my argument for Rogue being the greatest of all time. Now I want to talk about what I think Cyril actually is, and again, why Maru has been brought into this conversation. Now, there's something that we have in StarCraft 1. It's called the Bonjwa. Bonjwa is a term used to describe a player who dominates the StarCraft scene for a long period of time. A Bonjwa has a very high winning percentage and successive title wins. However, a Bonjwa is not identified by his statistics or records. Rather, a general consensus is reached that he is the most dominant pro gamer of his era. Okay, so this is what I think that people actually feel about Cyril. And I would completely agree with this. He really seems to me to be a StarCraft 2 Bonjwa. He is a dominant player right now. He's extremely, extremely strong. He's winning a lot of tournaments back to back. But that doesn't necessarily make you the GOAT. Let me just give the StarCraft 1 Example, okay, so we have, I think it was 5 players ever that got the Bonjwa status in StarCraft 1. Okay, so those players were, first off, Boxer. And Boxer, he won like 2 OSLs and an MSL. Okay, great, but he was a Bonjwa who was super dominant during that time. The next Bonjwa was Nada. Nada won 3 OSLs and 3 MSLs. And so he was the Bonjwa, but also he became the greatest of all time at that point because he simply has many more wins than Boxer. Then I Love Uv came around and he became the next Bonjwa and he won 3 MSLs and 2 OSLs. So no one actually thinks that I Love Uv is the greatest of all time. Like Nada retained that title and the new Bonjwa was I Love Uv. Then we had Savior come up. Obviously, he's kind of a different beast in here since he did get disgraced and everything. But he had 3 MSL victories. He had an OSL victory. And yeah, so like he didn't overtake that. And then finally, and at this point, Nada's still the GOAT, still the greatest of all time, still the most tournament wins. And then we had Flash come up, who got 3 OSLs, 3 MSLs, and who knows how many ASLs at this point. And no one disputes that now he is the greatest of all time. He has the most tournament wins. There you have it. So I think that that's what Serral is really kind of classified as, in my opinion. He's certainly one of the greatest of all time. But I think he does actually have that Bonjwa status. And one thing that was really confusing me for a bit was the argument between Maru and Serral, because Maru doesn't have any world championship wins. How could he possibly be in the GOAT discussion without these important wins? Which is the same thing. I'm like, well, how could Serral be in this discussion? It's Rogue. But what is happening is Maru is actually having a Bonjwa-esque experience in Korea where he's having this huge, massively dominating period. And Serral's having that outside of Korea, right? And the thing is, Maru travels outside of Korea and Serral beats him, but Serral does not travel into Korea. So Maru doesn't have the opportunity in those preparation tournaments to beat Serral. So I feel like we have 2 players right now that are having Bonjwa-esque experiences within their leagues, within their scenes. And I feel like people are confusing this because we haven't really utilized the term Bonjwa within StarCraft 2 for being the greatest of all time. But again, if you want to look at it, it's very clearly Rogue who has the most tournament wins overall for that premier level. Okay, so that's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if anyone can make a really great argument that isn't, a huge, long, ridiculous argument video, I would love to see that and respond to it. So, guys, thanks for watching, and hope that you've been enlightened.